Let's go on a walk in the countryside. Got my son on me as usual. What made me start to really increase my prices or earn more as a freelance filmmaker? One thing I did quite early on was I started to track my hours. How much was I actually putting into a project in terms of time? And there's a wonderful thing that happens when you do this. Perhaps you realize that you are charging really accordingly to how much work you're doing. But I think I was on the complete opposite of this, and I realized, oh my gosh, I'm charging like 1,500 euros for a project that I'm spending like 2 weeks on. And that's kind of insane. Let me put this down here. So I would get paid 1,000 euros for a project, and I would spend 3 hours on calls beforehand. I'd spend 2 hours driving to a location and back to check it out, sometimes driving to more locations. I would go and shoot the project, which would be a 10-hour day, and then I would do a day of editing. And if you do 1,000 divided by all of those hours, it doesn't really add up to a lot. And if you take that hourly rate and you give 42% of that to the tax man, then you may as well be working at a coffee shop. Once I started to really track and see where my hours were going, I realized, holy fuck, I need to charge a lot more. That's one thing that made me really realize that I should increase my prices. The next thing was surrounding myself with other people who were better than me. I would see on a project a DP charging minimum 2K, 3K a day, and I'd be like, it would blow my mind. I'd be like, how are you charging that much money? I'm earning like $1,500, $2,000 a month right now from all of this work. And I strongly believe in the concept of seeing is believing. And by that I mean, when you see someone else achieve something, you therefore realize that it's possible, and then you can believe that you can do that. And I would see very quote-unquote average DPs or average videographers charging loads of money, and I'd be like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I didn't consciously do this. I was just attracted to people who were better than me because I was like, wow, they are better. I could learn something from them. Or, we had a connection and we ended up working on a project together, and I learned just by speaking to them how they sort of would price things. And this was extremely, extremely helpful for me to give me the belief and the confidence to charge more for what I do. One of the other routes that I took was doing therapy. This is a bit non-conventional, but I think a lot of people believe that you can just kind of work and muscle your way into being the person that you want to become. I'm trying to keep my son's face out of this, so I'm going to go up here. A lot of it was down to me unlearning subconscious limiting beliefs and things that had been programmed into my brain as a child, such as a bad relationship to money, or not seeing any artists earn any money in my family. I didn't believe it was possible that you could earn good money from something creative. So I had all these blocks and these beliefs that I didn't truly align with, and knew in a way not to be true, but obviously we operate from such a subconscious level from day to day. So when I was afraid to ask clients for an extra 500 euros a day, I would be like, why do I feel so fucked up about this? Why can't I just ask for more? I know that raising my prices is going to help grow my business. I know raising my prices is going to make me feel more worthy for my work, but why do I not feel worthy enough to ask for that? So I did hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy was the biggest game changer for me. That doesn't mean people hypnotizing me and making me go, now you're a chicken. And I'm like, buck, buck, buck. It's not this at all. Hypnotherapy is essentially accessing the subconscious mind when you're in a hypnotic state, feeling things that you didn't feel, or reprogramming beliefs that you had that are basically not serving you anymore. In brief, one belief that I had to get out of my head was that I have to offer more value or learn a load more skills to ask for more. It's just not true. I think ultimately we can just pivot to a different type of video, or our video that we create for the client serves more value for them. Let me explain this. You're making a video about somebody who makes paper clips, and you're getting hired by an individual. The skills that go into making that video are pretty much the same skills craft-wise in terms of shooting it, lighting it, editing it, as making a video for the factory that makes the paper clips. The difference is that the value of the video that you're making is more, or providing more value to the client. So you're making it for an individual, a video for an individual, or you're making it for a company. Same skill set, same amount of time. Maybe the negotiation process and the pre-approval and the shot listing and all of this other justification needs to happen a lot more. But that's the difference between getting paid 500 euros from someone to 50,000 euros. And I wish I had just sort of known to just pivot to a different person, or know that there's different levels of value from my video whilst using the same skill set. This allowed me to charge more and essentially target more agencies and products that get sold for more. Because if a company is selling a shoe for 100 euros, they probably have a decent marketing budget if they sell that en masse. But if they're selling a car for 100,000 euros en masse, chances are they probably have also a decent, if not more, money. So again, the value that you're providing through your video is just changing to a different type of person who's using it. And so the very, very practical advice that I have for anyone who's trying to pivot in this situation is to not learn more skills or learn how to color grade better and spend your time doing that, but to put your time into positioning yourself in the market slightly differently, or networking and speaking to and meeting other producers, agencies, production companies who serve better clients. I would say from my experience, I have not made significantly better videos over the past 3 years. You know, I'm not doing crazy different stuff. It's just on a bigger scale with different clients. And obviously there's more responsibility, more decisions that need to be made, but the actual skill of what I'm doing and making of the video, it's not like I'm all of a sudden doing something completely different. And then obviously there's negotiation. You can learn to negotiate better and have a better way of conveying your value. But honestly, what I found more helpful from my experience is to create content that allows you to position yourself in the market differently, or help you create a perception of the type of work that you do or the type of person that you are. This is, to me, more beneficial than just competing on price, which, by the way, is never a good thing to be competing on. But that's another topic. I think one of the best things that I did was started to make reels and started to share projects that I really was passionate about and was happy with, and to also share projects that weren't perfect but could still be used and perceived by clients or agencies as useful, and to not be super precious with like just sharing like 4 or 5 projects that I want the world to see me as because I'm like this artist person. From my experience, it is important to share clearly the direction you want to go in terms of your portfolio, but it's also important to do that at a large quantity and sort of volume, because like I've mentioned many times before on this channel, you can share something once and people will probably not think of it again, because it's a bit like, what did you remember that you ate for breakfast a week ago? You don't remember it at all. So if a producer sees your project once, he probably doesn't remember that you shot that thing for Nike. But if he sees it 5, 6, 7 times because you're remodeling that piece of content or you're sharing that message multiple times, then chances are they'll probably remember you and have you positioned in their mind as, oh, that's John. John makes ads for Nike, instead of, oh, that's John. John makes ads for burrito companies. Unless you love making ads for burrito companies. I'm sure there's a lot of money in it at some point. I'm going to go see my parents, who I haven't seen for almost a year. Ciao.